You. Yeah, you. Imagine the year is 2009. You woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning because it's Christmas and you just couldn't sleep. You waddle on downstairs from your bedroom because it's early and you don't want to wake your parents. So all you have to do is wait. Wait by a TV where there's only two games that you can play: Mario Kart and Tetris Party Deluxe. You stare in agonizing pain at a Christmas tree, hoping there's a new game underneath it to satiate your newfound addiction. There is. And you know exactly what it is, because you've seen the title. You've seen the thumbnail. You know it's LEGO Star Wars: The Complete Saga. Baby. Now you're probably wondering what Play It By Tier is. It's a show created by the Switchclicks, where any one of us in the Switchclicks make a review on a game and end the video off by placing it on a tier list. So eventually we'll have a comprehensive tier list covering all sorts of media. It's very simple. I'm Tyler, and I hope you like and subscribe. It'd be really cool and helps out the channel quite a bit. Here's a graph showing how many people are subscribed. You've probably seen it from other YouTube videos, but I'm putting it here anyway. Hopefully, it will make you subscribe. That is all, and let's get on with the review. LEGO Star Wars: The Complete Saga starts you off with no context, just these two guys in a cantina. But even without a complicated tutorial, you're able to pick up really quickly on the controls, especially on the Wii U. There are 6 numbered doors looming over you menacingly. Only one of them are unlocked. Door 1. Episode 1. And you're drawn to it. Entering this door brings you to a whimsical world, magical of another exactly, pretty similar room. But, as if it was brilliantly planned, you notice jumping bricks in front of you, instinctively teaching you how to build and open up this magical world of possibilities. R2-D2's face has been built by you. And it teaches you, it shows you that LEGO can do anything. As you exit the cantina and enter your first level through a similar door, you realize how fun the cantina's been, and can LEGO Star Wars even make that up with their first level? And they do, throwing you right in to one of the best levels right off the bat. This level is called Negotiations, and it is utterly fantastic. It teaches you the controls better than the cantina does. With only a basic tutorial, your progress isn't paused throughout the level to show you how to, for example, jump or something. Some of the later levels, unlike this, don't feel as alive. It's hard to explain what I mean by that, but this level has a lot more branching paths and feels like there was a little more work put into it as it is the first level. That doesn't take away from most of the other levels, as they're all similar in quality. This one just peaks above the rest. All the levels are quite good and fun. Negotiations just sneaks above that with a little more pizzazz to it. The later levels try to capture the same essence as Negotiations, and they kind of do. Not to the same degree, but quite a few of them are quite good. I'll try to stick to only focusing on a couple levels per episode. So for this one, I'll narrow it down to 3 levels. Negotiations, which I've already talked about, Pod Race level, Mos Espa Pod Race, and the final level, Darth Maul. So let's start with Mos Espa. Mos Espa Pod Race is a fantastic ship level. It functions more as a race, and plays it very well. It manages to be difficult, which is kinda hard as most of this game is somewhat of a breeze. But the challenge in this level is pretty fair and challenging. A little more challenging when you're younger, but you'll still crash a couple times if you're playing this now. Well, the main reason the difficulty is as good as it is because this is their second try at this level. You see, the pod racing level was a lot more challenging, to the point where people complained. So they changed it to be more fair for the children playing. If you're confused about how difficult the earlier game is, I'll show you. quite difficult. You crash a lot. The fast-paced level leads every turn to feel dangerous, making the level feel exhilarating to play through. Or as exhilarating as a scripted level can feel. Every twist and turn makes you feel that you could crash at any time. As you go through the level, you hunt down Sebulba, the man in the orange pod, and the closer you get to him, the more you want to pound his face in. And you're able to. You're able to pound Sebulba's face in as you beat him in the race. Dopamine rushes to your brain as you are able to successfully beat most Espa pod race. It's a fantastic feeling that leaves you quite happy. Speaking of emotions and feeling happy, this next level also makes you feel something. You feel heartbroken. This level is Darth Maul. You play through a wonderful level, built similarly to Negotiations, has a couple branching paths, and it isn't exactly a straight pathway to the end. In this level, you chase down the Phantom Menace, getting closer and closer to him, almost getting him at a couple points, but he keeps getting away. Your emotions swirl inside you as you get closer and closer to him, and everything stops. Your heart skips a beat because you finally make it to him and beat his regrettably wimpy boss fight. But the boss fight is not the thing that matters. It's the cutscene afterwards. You see, after you beat him, you're shown that this thing, was able to cut down your compatriot, Qui-Gon Jinn. Obi-Wan is able to make it out, cutting Darth Maul in two, but it is too late. Obi-Wan has to hold Qui-Gon's dying body in his hands and console him as his eyes turn to X's. The dynamic duo is now a dynamic Uno. Sorry. Okay, let's just get back to the game. The next chapter, Episode 2, isn't as great as Episode 1. It has good moments, but the only main one we're going to focus on is Discovery on Kamino, as Jedi Battle is too short to talk about, and Droid Factory doesn't have enough going on to talk about it for a long enough period of time. And the other highlight is a bad flying level. Only a couple levels in this game I would consider not to be very fun, and this is one of them. You chase down the bounty hunter Zam something other. I cannot care to remember her name, and she is killed by the only person we're going to be talking about, Jango Fett. So moving on to Jango Fett's level, Discovery on Kamino, you enter a beautiful level. It's quite nice with the contrast of the whites of Kamino to the stormy outdoors. And like all good levels in this game, follows a, well, still kind of linear, exciting enough pathway to the end, so you're not completely bored while going through it. There are extra rooms when you play free play, but like Darth Maul, you're chasing down your enemy, this time being Jango Fett. Jango Fett is kind of fun. All the boss fights are relatively fun, they're just not exciting. They all follow the typical boss fight format, where you, for their cycle to end, then hit them, wait for their cycle to end, then hit them, and wait for their cycle to end, and hit them. Once you do that, you're most of the time able to beat them. They're still fun, they're not completely boring, it's just, boss fights are just a slightly lower point in this game. And with Episode 3, you're thrown right onto an on-the-rails space level. This one, like the pod race, is quite fun and a little challenging. I know when I was a small child, I had quite a difficult time actually playing through this one. And like the pod race, I would crash a lot. When you play through this level now, you have a good time, but you realize that, wow, I was a dumb kid not being able to beat this level. There isn't a ton you can do, because no ship levels have branching paths like the in-person levels. And once you beat this level, you have to follow Lego Anakin Skywalker's descent into madness. You watch him kill Count Dooku, and along with Order 66, if this game wasn't made for kids, you would have probably seen him kill some Lego younglings. Unfortunately, this game was E10 and up, so that wouldn't happen. And now that Anakin Skywalker is in the darkest part of his life, we'll get on to the last level for this section, the level that takes place on Mustafar. This is one of the best levels in the game, in my opinion. It is unique because it's timed. You have close to a minute to finish it before you have to restart because everything is crumbling around you. And the closer you get to the end, you realize that there has to be a boss fight or something. So you get to the end, confused who it would be, and it turns out the boss is Player 2. You fight your friend, or your parent, or your brother, or maybe a CPU if you're lonely. But you fight who's ever in the Player 2 section. And it's really unique. It is something that I don't think I've seen really any other games do. A multiplayer co-op level in where there is a boss fight where you fight the other player. It's just really, really, really cool. Anyway, you're able to beat your friend, and you complete the prequels. A really great experience with a ton of really fun levels and only a couple more meh ones. And you think to yourself at this point, how could the next 3 levels improve on this at all? And they do. And we'll get to why right now. You've been playing for a bit now, and you successfully complete the prequels. This roller coaster of emotions, bringing you from the highs of Qui-Gon's death and battling your teammate to the lows of, well, there isn't many lows, but I'd have to say episode 2. You now burst through your next door, eager for what episode 4 has in store. Now episode 4, 5, and 6 were released a year after the first game in LEGO Star Wars 2. This year gave them a good chance to build upon what they previously had, and now every level feels like the best of episode 1. There are only a couple levels which I'd say aren't super fun, maybe on par with the lower end of episode 1, 2, and 3. Now despite that, you're put into episode 4, starting you off with a level similar to Negotiations, as you follow Princess Leia and a stormtrooper going through another spaceship. This time, you're being chased down by Darth Vader, this imposing, terrifying figure, or as imposing as a stubby little Lego man can be. Now, because all the levels are so great, instead of taking highlights like I did for episode 1, 2, and 3, I'll take a shorter look at each level and try to just get a general consensus for how good the episode itself is. Now that you're done with your futuristic spaceship, you're thrown into the very first desert in Star Wars, something that would be copied multiple times. This desert level is fun, and the main point of interest is the Sandcrawler. You enter halfway through the level. Because these levels are all significantly longer than the prequel levels, there are multiple areas. The Sandcrawler is really fun. It's a unique setting with unique enemies. Speaking of the unique enemies, if you're a droid, you're not going to have a good time. As you see, you'll get zapped, and zapped, and zapped some more, causing you not to be able to move to the point where you swap to a new character to beat up the Jawas. And naturally, like any good story, you go from a lonely desert to an intergalactic death station. These levels in the Death Star are quite fun. They're nothing huge, as with most levels in this game, they follow a very similar formula. The main takeaway is probably the helmet stations, which will be introduced later, but these ones give you stormtrooper helmets, which, for example, you can put on Chewbacca and make him look pretty goofy. Just little things in this game that show how much heart is put into it. They didn't have to make Chewbacca look goofy, but they did. Now anyway, you explode the Death Star, probably killing quite a few people, and as you explode it, you move on to the next episode. Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, is widely regarded to be the best movie in the Star Wars series. I'm not sure if the levels quite live up to that hype, but they're mostly all fun. There are the surprisingly beautiful levels in Hoth, and the levels on Bespin, where there's a droid factory section where you have to build C-3PO back after he's stolen away from you. One of my favorite parts of the game. And there's also more ship levels. Similarly to the Bounty Hunter level in Episode 2, Episode 5 has a pretty meh ship level. This one follows a gimmick where you where you tie up AT-ATs like in the movie, and it's executed well enough, just doesn't feel as polished as it should be. And that'll probably take away a good chunk of your enjoyment of this chapter, and Backpacking Yoda might not even be able to bring it back. Just look at him. Now, if you didn't like episode 5, you would have to slog your way through it, hoping that the next 3 levels bring your enjoyment back up. And they do. These final 6 levels are great. You start a journey in Jabba's palace, just destroying Gamorrean guards, or maybe playing some music and they dance along to it, just in case you were, for some reason, playing LEGO Star Wars in the pacifist route. But you just destroy everything. You demolish a Rancor in a pretty creative boss fight. Still kind of disappointing because it's a LEGO Star Wars boss fight, but you're able to make it through. And you make it onto Jabba's barge, where you have to make it through perilous jumps across a ship and kill Boba Fett, because he will fall into that pit and never come back. Wink, wink. You blow up the barge and Jabba in it. Moving on to Endor. Endor is a great duo of levels. It introduce Ewoks. There's little divisive teddy bears that split the Star Wars fandom for quite a while. And you have to use their makeshift methods to break the Empire apart from the ground up. You know, just like Lego, breaking it apart. Now, because of the way I've been phrasing this probably feels that you're getting through this kind of fast. And you might be. This game isn't super long, but we're somehow already on the end game. This endgame has 2 fantastic levels that take place in the Death Star again, or the Death Star 2, as you blow up the first one. This entire first level, or the penultimate level, is dedicated to a giant Palpatine boss fight. This is probably the only boss fight that is good, or maybe not good. Let's say it's whelming, if that's even a word. Not overwhelming, not underwhelming, just whelming. You have to kill this old man, and Darth Vader changes. He's back to Anakin Skywalker, except his name is still Darth Vader, and he fights alongside you, making quite a cool setup where you have to use the dark side force in some areas and the normal force in others. It's cool, but just makes Darth Vader overpowered as he can do both kinds. So you might fight between other people playing it with you, but oh well. But regardless, let's get back to it. Palpatine has a lot more health than most bosses, and he just flips around the room, tanking all your hits with his ridiculous health bar, going through many different kinds of traps, like a zappy death maze, going up an elevator, which is surprisingly hard for what it is, and a couple other things. After this intense boss fight, you are able to do it. You beat him up. You kill the frail old man, and alongside this frail old man's death comes the death of your father, Darth Vader, in a cutscene not nearly as heart-wrenching as Qui-Gon, but it tries its best. Well, no, this is no time for tears, because you have to blow up the Death Star again. That, unfortunately, means another ship level, but this one's actually quite good. It's still jank and simple, but it's kind of fun. You race through the Death Star as it explodes, and try to make your escape. Actually, you start off exploding it, but after that, you have to make your escape. The whole galaxy celebrates as you burst your way out of the Death Star as it explodes behind you, or at least Endor does. Endor celebrates. I'm assuming everyone else does. And after watching the cremation of your father, you get a reunion with some Force ghosts, and you view the credits for a final time. But you still want more. You want 100% it. So that's what we're going to talk about now. And then Tyler went on a long tangent about the rest of the game. That would normally double the length of this video, so I'll summarize it here, so the video isn't twice as long as it should be. Bounty Hunter missions. They're fun side missions where you play hide and seek in previously played levels. Very fun. The special mode that adds blue mini-kits. Also like hide and seek, except not fun. The locations the blue mini-kits are in range in difficulty, from really easy to pretty hard, making it not fun because it is inconsistent. 100%ing the rest of the game is kind of fun. Mini-kits are surprisingly more fun than their blue variants. Red bricks are always a good time, and characters. Characters are really good. Probably the best part of a LEGO game. Here are some of my favorites. Did you know they each have a unique death cry? That's pretty cool too. Want to hear them all? Here you go. Hopefully that was pleasant to your ears. Now, that's enough of me. Time to go back to end of the video Tyler. Now it's the time you've all been waiting for. Giving it a tier and officially ranking it above all the other games. I realize you're on the edge of your seat, biting your nails or other ways to show your excitement. And here it is. Wow, an S tier and our first one. It's an A tier, never mind. Apparently S tier is going to be really hard to get considering how great of a game this is. This placing still might just be my nostalgia controlling me like Remy from Ratatouille, but that doesn't matter. Technically, some later LEGO games are of higher quality than this one, however, I feel the craftsmanship and heart put into LEGO Star Wars puts them just above the others. Passion oozes from the seams. This game could easily just be shovelware, but it's a nostalgic classic. People born from 1999 to 2005 know of it or have played it multiple times. It's just one of the most nostalgic games, maybe ever. And I think it fits this spot really well. And if you disagree, just go into the pit. Now, only the people that agree with me are here, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. It has taken quite a while to do, and it's my first time editing one of these, so hopefully it's kind of cool. And I hope you had a good time watching it. If you made it to the end, rounds of applause. You made it through my bad jokes, my cringy dialogue, and made it out to the end. And sorry to do this to you, but have you subscribed yet? Because you made it through this entire video, so you can. The button's still there. It's not going anywhere, so just do me a favor and click it, please. Thanks.